Good morning, BookTube. This is Caitlin from Bandy's Books. I am here for my Monday morning reading sprints. Hopefully you're having a good start to your week. Mine is starting out okay, a little bit hectic this morning, but nothing too crazy. I took Luna for her morning walk, and we have like a handful of routes around this neighborhood that we do, and I try to vary them. So the route that I took this morning is one that I take when I have a little bit more time. There's like a block, and then we have like kind of a river wash that goes between a couple blocks. So I can go around one block and there's like a bridge that crosses it. And so usually I'll just walk the block and then cross that bridge to come back to my apartment. But unfortunately today the bridge was blocked off. And so I was unable to cross there, which meant that I had to either walk back the whole block that I came or walk around the next block, which normally would be fine, except for it's like 105 degrees and 100% humidity because we've been having thunderstorms. So I'm a little sweaty and a little tired, and Luna is passed out, exhausted on the floor over here. But that being said, we are ready to cool off and read. I made myself a bourbon vanilla latte. I've got some water. I've got a couple books to look at here today. So as I've been doing for most of my Monday morning reading sprints, I have Friday Black by Nana Kwame Adjei-Brenyah. So I'm going to, I think, start with a couple stories from here, just because I want to finish this by the end of the month. And the stories in this are very thematically heavy, kind of emotional. So I'm going to read a couple of short stories for the first few reading sprints. And then once I'm like ready to transition to another book, I have Birnam Wood, which I am currently buddy reading with Catherine over at Raspberry Reads. So I need to make some more progress in this. I'm at about page 75 in here. And then if I feel like something a little lighter, I have The Husband by Holly Gramazio. So we will see what I end up reading today. If you are just popping into the chat, feel free to say hello. Let me know what you're reading, what progress you hope to make. I'm just going to type in a comment really quick for users that join while we're sprinting. Hopefully everybody is doing well today. We are currently sprinting. Please feel free to say hello in the chat. Let us know what you're reading. Sorry, I have a hard time typing without talking to myself. All right. Hello, good morning. Hey, Nadim, how are you doing today? What are you reading today? Let me just get situated here. Oh. My chair flipped back on me. Hi, I'm reading The Ballad of Black Tom. Awesome. That's a Victor Laval book. Let's see. I'm about to start the book, The Perfect Marriage by Geneva Rose. Awesome. I'm not familiar with that one. Let's take a look. The Perfect Marriage. Perfect Marriage. Geneva Rose. I see it here. Okay, so this is a thriller. Would you defend your husband if he was accused of killing his mistress? Sarah Morgan is a successful and powerful defense attorney in Washington, D.C. At 33 years old, she is a named partner at her firm, and life is going exactly how she planned. The same cannot be said for her husband, Adam. He is a struggling writer who has had little success in his career. He begins to tire of his and Sarah's relationship, so as she is constantly working. Out in the secluded woods at Adam and Sarah's second home, Adam engages in a passionate affair with Kelly Summers. Then one morning, everything changes. Ooh, this sounds pretty interesting. Okay, so you're just starting it. So you'll have to update us maybe next week and let us know how it is or was if you're finished by then. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and set up that first reading sprint, and hopefully everybody is settled in, cozy, got your drinks, got your books, got your bookmarks, whatever you need. Speaking of which, I think I actually need to grab some bookmarks. I have like a pot of bookmarks that I keep over on my bookshelf so that I always have them handy, because otherwise I just like jam random things in my books. And, I'm like the person that grabs the receipt or a button or a penny or whatever to bookmark their book. And then I've had a couple books get damaged doing that. So now I try to make sure I always have bookmarks around. Okay. So we have 15 minutes set. And I think we can go ahead and start with that first sprint. So, some reason it started at 2 hours and 15 minutes. That is not correct. 0 hours, unless everybody would like to sprint for 2 hours and 15 minutes. All right, so 15 minutes are on the clock. I will see you guys then. Hopefully everyone is productive with their reading. What you doing, Lou? What you doing, Mama? You come up. You come up. Would you like to come up? Come here. Come here. Lou. It's not what we're doing right now. You can come up if you want. Come up. What are you doing? What are you doing? You want to come up? Say hello. Can you say hi? Kiss. right, we have reached our first 15 minutes. Just turn this off real quick. All right, how did you guys do? Everybody make a little bit of progress. Let's see. Good morning, Cool Gamer. How are you doing today? What are you reading? So I made it about, where was I at? I made it about 12 pages into this book. So I finished the story that I was reading when I started, which only had a few pages left. And I'm honestly not sure that I got the point of that one, what it was about. I may have to go through and look at it again at some point because I feel like there was some meaning there that I'm missing. And maybe it just, went over my head. But I've started a new book a new story called Zimmerland. And this is, I think, going to be a really powerful story. So far we have a Black man who is working in a reality simulator where basically he dresses up in a mecha suit and he engages in confrontations with white patrons. So they have the white patron in a simulated house and they're telling him, this is your home, you have to defend it. And then our main character is walking around out front and then is eventually engaged in conflict with the owner of the house. And he always ends up being shot, but he has a mecha suit, so he's obviously not really shot. And then the person that owns the house eventually goes to trial and it simulates the whole process somehow. I'm curious to see where this goes because I think that it's set up for a really interesting, thought-provoking story, and based on a lot of the things that have been happening here in the States. So that's kind of been the theme of this book so far. Pretty much every story that I've read says something very deep about a different aspect of racial injustice in the United States so far. Okay, let's see. Good afternoon. That startled me. I'm assuming the alarm. Yeah, usually I have it over here in my lap, so it's not quite so loud, but I had set it up here on the computer, so I think it was really close to the microphone, so it probably sounded really loud. Finished a cup of coffee and did some little work. Awesome. Yeah, I have my coffee over here as well. I'm trying to experiment with making my own coffee because I gave up coffee for a really long time. I had all these health issues from endometriosis, and one of the things that is really inflammatory is caffeine and sugar, or two of the things. And so I'd given it up, and I would just have coffee on a very rare occasion. But now that I have had surgery and I'm feeling a lot better, I'm really enjoying drinking a coffee every morning. I still don't want to drink a whole lot of it, but just one. And so I've been going to our local coffee shops almost every day, but it's $7 a coffee here. And they're delicious, but they're also super sugary and, not the healthiest choice. So I was like, what if I just make some lattes at home? So we have this little old school espresso press and coffee maker. So I made some coffee this morning, added a bunch of milk, and then I have this vanilla bourbon extract that I used and some sugar. It's just not the same. So I gotta keep experimenting and figuring it out. This was my issue before when I used to drink coffee, is that for me, whatever reason, I can never get my coffee at home to taste quite as good as it does at the coffee shop. Maybe I just need to buy an actual espresso machine, a fancy coffee maker. I just joined staying at a coffee shop before work and reading a Zodiac Academy 6. Awesome. What is your coffee of choice? I'm curious. And I hope that you enjoy Zodiac Academy. Let's see. Hi, late for sprints. In a way, doing my own sprints, waiting for car rim repair, reading the Inheritance games. Well, bummer on having to wait for car rims to be repaired, but I hope you enjoy the Inheritance games. I have read the 3 books that are the main series. I haven't read the 4th book that just recently released. So I hope that you enjoy them. I won't say that they're the most serious, deep books, but I found them to be good fun. They were a nice kind of lighter read in between some of the heavier stuff. I read 13 pages and I am almost done. Awesome. I am really excited to hear your thoughts on that. So she's reading The Ballad of Black Tom, which is by Victor LaValle. I loved The Changeling by Victor LaValle. Lone Women was kind of so-so for me. I didn't love it as much, but I've heard that The Ballad of Black Tom is one of his best works. So I'm really excited to hear about it. I usually make coffee at home, but I wanted some me time. Everyone is home today. Yeah, totally. I'm not like trying to say I'm against coffee shops or anything. I just, while I was home recovering, since I had 2 months with nothing to do, I went to a different coffee shop almost every single day. And so, it adds up fast, both in like sugar and caffeine and in cost. So now that I am back to normal life, I'm like, I don't need to indulge myself every single day with a coffee shop. But I definitely think like on my days off, like yesterday, Oz and I went for coffee at the coffee shop. So I think it'll just be one of those things like on my days off, I'll treat myself to a coffee at a coffee shop. And then on my days at home, I'll try to make my coffee. Because honestly, I'd like to get better at making it anyways. I feel like it's kind of a nice skill to have. How are you enjoying summer? 105 is really hot. Yeah, it is really hot. We were at 119 a couple weeks ago. So honestly, 105, I guess, is an improvement in terms of temperature. But we have been having monsoon rains. So monsoons can be common in Vegas, usually towards the end of the summer. But it's been so far above our normal here and so hot that it definitely, I lost my train of thought. Oh, we've been having more monsoons. Sorry, I get distracted by the comments sometimes and like my brain pauses to read. So we've been getting monsoon rains. Last night we got some really wild thunderstorms. And then this morning, which is unusual in the morning, usually it happens like in the evening after the pressure is built all day. So this morning we got some more rain. And so it's just so gross and humid and sticky right now. You could use a French press. I read 13 pages. I'm almost done. I have tried French presses. It all results in the same thing for me. Maybe lower your standards for making coffee at home. Hey, coffee shops are far too expensive. I'm reading a pocket. Yeah. I don't know that the issue is necessarily that I need to lower my standards. I think I just need to learn how to make better coffee. I'm a chef for a living, so my standards for food and drinks and stuff are high, and they will stay high. And I just want to practice until I can make them taste good. Because if they can make them taste good in coffee shops, then I can make them taste good at home too. It's just learning the techniques and how to do it properly. Today is a frozen funky monkey made with oat milk. This one has espresso, banana, and peanut butter. I usually make something caramel at home. Wow, that's an interesting combination. Espresso, banana, and peanut butter. I guess I could see that working because when I make banana muffins, sometimes I'll add like a little bit of espresso extract. Cool. And yeah, I like, so when I do make coffee at home, usually those are my go-to flavors. I have vanilla bourbon extract or I have like caramel syrups. But I think that I kind of want to delve into like coffee making, like in a kind of obsessive geeky way and like start making my own syrups and stuff as well. Cause I think that's one of the big things is I think a lot of coffee shops, make their own syrups and things like that. And so we'll see. Coffee is a partial addiction, trying to cut it out. So when I cut it out the first time, because I actually ended up having to like quit it completely, I was drinking like 3 or 4 espresso-based drinks a day because I was working in a restaurant where we had baristas. And so I could just get lattes and cappuccinos and stuff whenever I wanted. And it was just wreaking havoc on my body and my system and everything. And so I cold turkeyed. And I found that it took about a month before I felt good without any caffeine. It was miserable, like the first 2 weeks, especially the migraines, the grogginess, all of that. But once I like was a month out, it was pretty good. I found that, I stopped feeling like I needed boosts and stuff like that. And definitely my energy was a little bit more stable. So I think it's definitely, a balance. I enjoy coffee. And so like a coffee in the morning, I think is okay, but definitely I don't want to ever get to a place where I'm drinking that much again. And a frother. Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking is like maybe down the road when I want to treat myself to something nice, I'll get like one of those nice espresso machines that, you can brew espresso like an actual coffee shop and then with a frother so I can froth my milk and everything. So A Pocket Full of Rye by Agatha Christie. Okay. How is it? Are you enjoying it? Are you just starting? It wouldn't be friendly if I had to go cold turkey. Yeah, I wasn't either. I was a monster for the whole month that I had to cold turkey. I was grouchy and migrainey. And yeah, I think, like I said, there's like a happy medium somewhere. So trying to find mine. And I should say, it's not like this is bad or anything. It's just not as good as what the coffee shop makes. And so that's what I need to figure out is what the secret is. All right. I also will add this morning, so I'm listening to an audiobook right now. I can't talk about it specifically because I'm reading it for the BookTube prize. And we're not allowed to talk about the books we're reading until we have judged them, because we could potentially like influence somebody else's decision. But all the books, so I've read 4 of 6 so far, and all of the books that I've read in this round of nonfiction have been phenomenal, fantastic. Subject matter super interesting. But this one that I started yesterday and I'm finishing this morning, I was listening to it while I was walking Luna. It has to be the most infuriating book, not because it's badly written, it's brilliantly written, but it's the subject matter is just, I have so many thoughts and I just want to talk to somebody about it. Yeah, it's brutal and frustrating. And I think once the BookTube prize is like finished, at the very end, I'm going to do a series of videos where I talk about each round and what I read in each round and how I ranked them and felt about them, since I haven't reviewed any of them like on my actual channel so far. So yeah, anyways, a lot of frustration. I'm at like the 90% point in this audiobook too. So I'm like right at the end, the conclusion. Anyways, let me set up that next 15-minute sprint timer. All right, I'll see you guys in 15 minutes. Hopefully make some good progress. All right. That's the end of our second 15-minute sprint. Hopefully you all are making good progress. Let's see. I'm just going to get comfortable. There we go. Let's see. I am listening to Shelterwood by Lisa Wingate. Also good, but a little bit typical writing. Okay. That's okay sometimes, right? Sometimes it's good to have books that are not like the most break the mold type books that aren't necessarily like super critical. They're just, enjoyable reads for what they are. I have a handful of those as well. So I made it almost to the end of the story that I just started. I have 2 pages left for Zimmerland, and yeah, it's pretty brutal. I have to say, like, Ajay Brenya does such a good job of capturing current issues in the United States specifically. Obviously, like most people are pretty familiar with Chain Gang All-Stars and how it took on the penal system in the United States and, kind of turned it on its head. And he does that a lot throughout the stories in here, not specifically with the penal system, but with just a lot of common issues in the United States revolving around race. And I think the thing that he does so well is he takes something that's a very real problem and he just inches it forward just slightly. Like he's not making it so out there that it would be like a sci-fi. He's just inching it just incrementally forward, and it really provides thought-provoking commentary. I really like his writing. Let's see. I didn't get very far. Stormy is demanding my attention. Stormy is my mom's cat. She has 2 cats, Stormy and Spike. And they're indoor cats, like they live inside the house. But my mom lets them out into the backyard, like on leashes. And like they have like a harness and leash, and then they'll let them roam in the backyard. And then that way, if like the cats try to jump the fence, my mom could grab them. And then they also have like a catio that's on the patio for the cats to hang out in and stuff. And so the cats get very demanding about going outside. So I think that's what she's talking about. I am super invested in figuring out what's going on with the story. So I'm at least going to read those last 2 pages in the next reading sprint, and then try to see how long the next story is, because I may just get through that. Oh yeah, the next story is not very long. So I think I'm going to read those last 2 pages and then the next story, which is like maybe 6 pages. And then I'll switch over to probably Birnham Wood for a little while. How are you guys all doing with your reading? Anything exciting? Luna's finally decided to get in her bed. She was like, over here, don't mind the extension cord. I have my computer and light plugged in. She's finally passed out. She was like trying to get me to play while we were reading in the first reading sprint. She kept bringing me her toy. So we're going to go hiking later tonight up in the mountains. And I think she'll really enjoy that. We tried to camp over the weekend and it turned into chaos. And so she didn't get as much exercise as we planned over the weekend. So we're going to go up with some friends tonight for a hike, and hopefully that'll help her burn off some steam. Okay. So I'm going to set that next 15-minute reading sprint. Let's see. I'll set the 15 minutes, and then I will see you in 15. Okay. We are 3 reading sprints in, so hopefully everybody is doing well. So I made it almost to the end of the next story. I feel like this happens every single time where I'm like trying to find a clean break and finish, a story so that I can move on to the next thing. But I'm now 3 pages from finishing the next story. So I think in my 4th reading sprint, I'm going to read these last 3 pages and then I'm going to switch to my other book because I think this next story is a little bit longer maybe. Yeah, spider. Yeah, it looks like this one is maybe a little bit of a longer story. And so I don't think I'll be able to read the last couple pages, then finish another story. I'll just end up in the same cycle that I've been in. So this particular story I'm reading right now is the titular story, Friday Black. And it is about Black Friday. And our main character works in a mall and he is preparing for battle. So the people that are coming to shop are actually like quite literally zombies. There is a disease that has taken over the population called Black Friday. And basically the people that are infected with it only like communicate in incoherent murmurs. And they just like march into the stores, like all zombified and trample people to death and fight and bite and all that. It's pretty interesting. I mean, it's not too far from reality. It's not that like people are actual zombies, but people get really intense ordeals and kind of lose that sense of perspective and sanity. And I think he's captured that super well in this little short story. Like I said, this is probably my favorite thing about Ajay Brunya's writing is just that he's so good at capturing the things that are happening around us and then twisting them just enough to make them like a very pointed commentary. This is fantastic. So if you like short stories, I would highly recommend this. And if you haven't read Chain Gang All Stars, I would definitely recommend that as well. So, it's about 10 a.m., 10 of 10. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm like yawning away. We're trying to adjust our schedule this week. So I go back to full time. This will be my first week back at full time. And like most of my days are pretty short. So I work 4 hours tomorrow, 6 hours on Tuesday, 6 hours on 6 hours Wednesday, 6 hours Thursday. But Friday and Saturday, I work 12-hour shifts, 10 to 12 hours, depending on what the day requires. And I have to start my day at 6 a.m., which means that I have to be up at 5 a.m. here to get to work on time. And instead of like trying to only wake up at 5 a.m. on the 2 days that I have to be up early, I figured it would probably be easier if we just focus our schedules on being up early. Because Oz has to be up at 6 anyways for work Monday through Friday. And so a lot of times I get woken up and then I fall back to sleep. And anyway, so we're just trying to retweak our schedule a bit. I'm hoping that if I start getting up at 5 every day, that it'll give me a little bit more time to focus on some yoga, some meditation, maybe some reading, getting things done in the morning before my day gets really chaotic. And it'll give Oz a little bit of time before he has to go to work to actually like wake up and eat and stuff too. So I'm a little sleepy today just because this is like my first day getting up early in a really long time. While I was recovering, obviously I didn't have any reason to like have to get up at any particular time. So I'm super used to sleeping in at the moment. Like my natural rhythm is to stay up really late at night and then sleep in the morning. And so now I have to adjust back to reality. Okay. I have 2 pages left and then I'm going to continue reading Hell Followed With Us or The Cliff. Ooh, Hell Followed With Us. That one's really brutal. Since you said that you're going to continue, I'm assuming you've already started it. How are you liking it so far? Are you finding it particularly gruesome? Um, Andrew Joseph White in general, I find his horror to be very visceral and descriptive, and a lot of like body horror. In general, I think I have found kind of a trend with transgender horror, in Manhunt by Gretchen Fulker Martin, in Tell Me I'm Worthless by Alison Rumfitt, in both of Andrew Joseph White's books, The Spirit Bears His Teeth and Hell Followed With Us. There's a lot of like body horror. And I have to wonder if that has something to do with feeling like you don't fit in your own body, and that like desire to transition into the body that you feel fits your your mental state. I've just noticed that trend specifically in trans horror is that very visceral body horror. Um, I really like it. I think it's a very interesting perspective, and in particular with Andrew Joseph White, I think that the concepts that they come up with are fantastic, and very relatable, and also horrifying and dark. So, anyways, I'm curious to hear your perspective when you finish that book. So, I guess we can get set up for that next 15-minute sprint since everybody seems to be occupied at the moment. Okay. So I think we'll just go ahead and jump into that next 15-minute sprint, and then oops, and then I dropped my phone. So it's 10:15 right now, or 10:10. So usually I sprint until about 11 a.m. We'll see how things are going and if people are still interested in continuing. So we'll finish the sprint and then we can assess from there if we're going to do one or two more sprints. So 15 minutes. 15 minutes is on the timer, and I will see you in a little bit. Okay, we have hit the end of our next sprint. All right, so Allie, well, I must gather my things and head to work. Thanks for the sprints. Thanks for joining, Allie. I'm so glad that you were able to hang out for a little bit, and I hope that you enjoyed your time at the coffee shop as well as your drink, and I hope you have a good day at work. So I finished actually another story, and finally I had like a clean break. So I finished the story that I was reading called Friday Black that was about Black Friday. And then I finished another story called The Lion and the Spider. So I am going to now switch from Friday Black over to Birnam Wood. I'm pretty happy with my progress. Let's see, how much did I read in this book today? So I started on page 80 today, and I'm at 128 now. I guess I finished at 127. So I am up a whole 47 pages. Pretty happy with that. Let's see, a couple comments. Cleaned my room and read 12 pages. Awesome. Is this the last sprint? I wasn't sure. So I had said in the last one that I would run that sprint and then see where we were at after that. I'm thinking that I will probably do one more reading sprint at least, just because I want to read some of Birnam Wood before I end my sprints. And it looks like we still have some people hanging around. So I will do at least one more, and then we'll see after that one more where everyone's at. I like to just kind of play it by ear. Like I said, I usually go till around almost 11. But if everybody's done and there's no purpose to running more sprints, then that's okay too. So yeah. And then I got briefly distracted in the last sprint because I was looking up espresso machines, because now my focus is on coffee. And so I'm kind of like that. Like when I start thinking about one subject, I get like hyper focused on it. And then I have to learn everything about that subject before I can let it go. So we'll see. Try not to fixate on coffee. Okay. So I think I'm going to be switching over to Eleanor Catton for this sprint. Or not Eleanor Catton, but Birnam Wood by Eleanor Catton. I'm starting at page 75. So hopefully I can get like 12 to 15 pages done. That would be nice. I'd like to make a little progress here. How's everyone else doing with their books? I know we've run 4 or 5 sprints now. So hopefully everybody's got a few pages in at least. All right, so set up this timer for 15 minutes. All right, and we'll check back in. Oh, my screen's so dark you can't see the timer. There we go. Check back in 15 minutes. All right. That is the end of that sprint. I made it through 10 pages of Birnam Wood. I don't know. This book, it's kind of weird for me. So I started reading this last year. I picked it up. I read like 20 pages. I liked it and I put it down and I forgot about it for a while. Then I picked it up again and I got to page 75 and I liked it. I found the reading engaging and I found the characters compelling and I like Catton's writing style, but I put it down and then I haven't touched it since. And so when Catherine and I were talking about doing a buddy read, she gave me a list of books that she was thinking about, and this happened to be one of them. And I'm like, oh, good, because I really need to get through Birnam Wood. And so now I'm back to reading it again. And it's interesting because once again, I have that feeling of the writing is good. The characters are interesting. I think it's set up to do something interesting. But for some reason, it's work getting through this book, at least the initial part. I recently saw a review by Hannah at Savage Reads, and she mentioned that the beginning of the book was super exposition heavy. So maybe that's what it is that it's just all the world building and the exposition that's making it feel, I don't know, a little bit dense. I'm not sure what the right descriptor is. It's not bad. I like the writing style. I like the characters. I like the concept. I like where I think this is going. I just am maybe a little bit stuck at the pace. I don't know what it is. It's just something slightly off. If you've read Birnam Wood, let me know. Let me know how you feel about it. So I'm thinking, since it looks like we're kind of winding off here, we're close to 2 hours of reading sprints, that'll be the last sprint and we can all just kind of go on our merry ways for the day. I have quite a few things to get done today. I have to plan some workouts. So Oz and I, in all of these changes that we're making, so I mentioned like we're trying to get up earlier and be more productive and kind of retool our lifestyle a little bit. So one of the changes that we're making is we're going to be setting like a gym routine together. So I have been an athlete most of my life and I've worked with trainers and all sorts of stuff for quite a long time. So I have quite a bit of experience at working out, and I've also rehabbed from surgery 3 times now. Never with any like actual physical therapists. I've always done my own rehab by myself and recovered really, really well. So I've been doing light workouts for the last 2 weeks, but now I'm at the point where I feel confident that my body can handle heavier workouts. And so I'm trying to build a workout routine to rebuild all the muscles that I lost during my time off. And then Oz had like a little medical thing that was going on as well. And so he's wanting to rebuild his fitness and everything. And so we're going to try working out together. And he kind of is one of those people that always goes to the gym and does the same thing over and over and over again. And so I'm trying to encourage him to get out of his rut and start doing things that are a little more challenging. So I'm going to sit down and write out a workout routine for us that will last like basically a month. So it'll be progressive overload and finish on a deload week. So I got to get that set up. And then I need to make breakfast burritos. So one of the things is that also like we struggle to get in 3 full meals because of the way that our working hours are and our schedules and stuff. So I figured that if I made like some pre-made breakfast burritos, that would be a decent option for each of us to like heat up in the morning at our collective times before we have to go to work. So I'm going to make those today. And then we're hiking tonight. So I've actually already prepped out all my stuff for dinner. I just need to make some salad dressing. I made these like really nice charred broccoli and pancetta salads. And so I just need to make this it's like a kind of like a green goddess salad dressing. So I'm gonna get that done. And then I have my June wrap up to finish editing. I've already shot it. I'm actually about halfway through the editing process. So I'm hoping to finish that today. And then I would like to shoot my mid-year freakout tag today so that I can get that posted tomorrow and do my kind of halfway through the year wrap up, because we're getting close to not being at halfway through the year anymore. And then we'll see what else. I'm working on getting a plan together for social media for August now that like July is kind of coming to a close and I'm feeling good and everything. I just didn't want to overload myself in July as I kind of transitioned back into normal life, but feeling good with energy, feeling good with time management. I think these couple changes that Oz and I are making to our lifestyles will help me manage some of that a little bit better. And so I'm hoping in August to get back into a much more regular posting schedule. So yeah, that's what I have on the docket for the rest of the day. Just going to get a few things, done to kind of help in terms of planning and in terms of supporting nutrition and fitness goals. And then I'm going to go enjoy the mountains with Oz and Luna and a couple of our friends. Oh, and I have a little bit of work. I've been doing investing. So I do both long-term and short-term investments. So my long-term investments, I don't really do much with them, but my short-term investments, I'm doing options trading and I'm day trading them. And so I'm very, very new to this. I've only been doing it for a few months. I feel like it takes quite a long time to really learn how to do it effectively. So I've been reading some books on it and just kind of getting different perspectives. And I track every single trade that I make so that after I finish a trade, I can go back and look at the graphing and assess like how I made my decisions, what led to the decision I made. Was I happy with that decision? What improvements would I make on the next trade? All that kind of stuff. So I have some of that to do today because I made a good trade this morning. And so I want to like do a postmortem on it and make sure that I'm looking at the things that led me to make the decision I made. So I think that's everything. Thank you guys for joining in for reading sprints this morning. I felt like it was very productive for me. Hopefully it was very productive for you. I managed to get through about 50 pages in Friday Black. That's 3 stories. And I think that next Monday for the last reading sprints of July, I should be able to knock out the rest of this book. There's like 50 pages left. So I think that that's really doable. And then I managed to get in 10 pages of Birnam Wood. I will definitely be reading more of this later tonight. When we get home from our hike, I'm sure I'll be cold because it's going to be raining up in the mountains. So I'm going to take a hot bath, get my book out, and try to like knock out a good chunk of pages. So I will hopefully see you guys soon. Look for some content coming up this week. I don't have a set schedule just because, again, I'm still trying to figure out what life looks like as I move back into work. But I definitely will have at least a couple videos come up this week. And then hopefully next week we'll be back to, or not next week, but in the beginning of August, we'll be back to like a more set schedule. So I'll see you guys all soon. Thanks for joining. Bye.